Hello, I'm Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching The Plant Doctor. What I want to go over today is, in my opinion, probably the most important aspect of having your yard look crisp and clean going into spring. When you take a landscape design course, they'll talk about things like symmetry and balance and all these other elements of design. But what I found in landscape is line is by far the most important aspect. If you can get nice, crisp lines on your beds and not have them wavy and just crisp, and if you do have a curve, it looks like a French curve and not just something that's not symmetrical, it will make a world of difference in your yard. I want to walk you through 3 methods that I use in my yard to get the perfect bed line. We're going to cut a bed line, and we are going to use 3 tools to do that with. I'm going to walk you through how to use each one of those. The reason we want to do this is throughout the growing season where I'm at, Bermuda and zoysia are the predominant grasses here in our area, and they have runners. They have rhizomes and stolons, and throughout the year what we see is those rhizomes and stolons get up into the bed. So late winter is the ideal time to get out in the yard and cut some fresh bed lines. You're going to loosen up the Bermuda and zoysia that is a longer bed line, and you can just flip that over into the bedside, and as long as it's face down, you have very little chance of that rooting in the bed, and you have a nice crisp bed line to put down some pine straw. So that's what we're going to do today. So if you have soft soil, so where I'm at, we have very sandy soils, you can get away with using a round point or square point shovel, and all you want to do is just punch down about 2 or 3 inches. That's all it takes, and just make a nice straight line. Here again, we're going to flip this soil back onto the bedside. We're not going to dump it onto the turf side. So if you have minimal linear footage that you're doing, say you only have like 1 or 2 beds in your yard, and let's say it's maybe 100 linear feet or so that you've got to do, this is an ideal method for you to use. The next method is going to be something a little bit different. Let's take a look at it. So the next method, we're getting a little more aggressive here. I have a pickaxe. You can use a pickaxe if you're in like heavy clay soils or rocky soils, or if you have a lot of linear feet as well. If you've got more than just say like 100 or so linear feet you need to do, a pickaxe would be good. I'll give you a pro tip on this, and this is just years of experience talking here. I've been doing landscape work since I was 12 years old, probably younger than that, is when you're doing a bed line with a pickaxe, go walk forward with the pickaxe like this. We're just lightly going across the ground. Don't go backwards with the pickaxe like this, because you're just digging the dirt that you just dug, and the pile will get bigger and bigger and bigger. So walk forward with it, and then that way you're just not making a huge pile of dirt as you go along. And if you can do that, here again, you got a couple of 100 linear feet, or you have very rocky soils, this is probably the best tool to do your bed lines with. I have a tool that I'm going to break out now. I have several thousand linear feet of bed line that I need to trench, and I have a tool for that I want to share with you guys. I'm going to show you how I use that tool to do my beds. I'm going to show you how I put the pine straw in. I do my pine straw a little bit differently. I want to show you a couple of tricks to get a perfect edge between grass and bed when you lay down your pine straw. So the last method that I want to share with you is, actually they make machines that will do this for you. So if you're doing this commercially, or you have extensive beds like I have, you may want to look into getting one of these. So me and this little machine, we go back a long way. This is called a Trench Master. It's made by Brown Products Incorporated. It's a company outside of Dothan, Alabama. And my early teens, say 12 years old on, I was behind this a lot. You put a lot of different attachments on it. They make an irrigation trencher attachment. They make a wiring attachment, and I've got the bed edger attachment on it right now. And I've probably literally walked miles and miles and miles behind this very bed edger. Anything with a Honda engine on it like this has just runs forever and ever and ever. And I'm really gonna put it to the test here. We're gonna see if it cranks on the first pull. This is like a 25 or 30-year-old Honda engine. As long as you change the spark plugs on it and your oil and your air filter, these things just run forever. Put a little bit of stable in your tank to keep the ethanol from eating it up. And let's see what it does. I'm gonna show you how this works. We'll try to crank it up on the first pull. So you can see here what a beautiful edge that made. What we're going to do, this soil that got piled up on this side, we're just going to rake it back into the bed. And then from there, I'll show you how I put my pine straw down. Stay with me for that because I do it a little bit differently. I want to share that with you, how we put down this pine straw. All right, so I just undid a bale of pine straw here. The first thing I want to do is this old pine straw, I'm just going to kind of lay it back where it was. We raked it back earlier. I'm going to move it back. And it doesn't have to be perfect here. And we'll just do maybe a 10 or 15 foot section here for demonstration. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'll do the rest of it off camera. I just want to show you guys how I get this perfect bed line in right here. I'm going to take some fresh pine straw. I'm going to go over the top with my fresh pine straw, but I want you to notice something here. I'm going way outside of my bed line with my pine straw. And I'm going to show you why in a minute. So I'm just going to get a little 10, 15 foot section done here. And let me show you why I'm doing this. I'm going to go ahead off camera, do the whole entire bed. Going to circle back around to this real quick. After I do the bed, I want to show you the whole bed when it's done, but I don't want you to have to sit through all that. I'm going to show you what I did to get a perfect bed line. So the secret here is going to be a blower. We're going to crank up our blower, put it on low throttle, and we're going to stand about 3 or 4 feet out into the yard and lightly blow this pine straw. What it'll do, it'll begin to roll up on itself, it'll roll under, and it's going to fall perfectly down into this trench. Let me show you how that's done. So I want to walk you down this bed line to show you the finished product. I'm going to take the camera and I'm going to get right on the bed line and we'll walk this bed line together. And you can see how crisp and neat and clean this is. I've had a few little leaves blowing here since then. It is February, we still have some leaves blowing around. But you can see what a difference this makes, just putting an edge on a bed. Let's turn the camera back around. You can look back down that bed line, how crisp and clean and neat that is. That is the #1 element of design, in my opinion, is that clean, crisp line. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor, and until next time, happy gardening.